Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Classic Gamer Bobby. And today for this episode of Retro One and Done, we're going to be taking a quick look at a roguelike Mega Man clone for the PC called 20XX. Let's get started. Alright guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Retro One and Done, and we are about to start 20XX for the PC. Now this is available through Steam, and not too long ago it just released for the Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. Now this is a roguelike Mega Man clone, so if you enjoy games like the Mega Man X series, you're really gonna like this game. There's not much involved as far as the story. What the developers were trying to hit on was just the overall play experience of a Mega Man game. So what happens in this is every time you start a new game, the levels are randomly generated. So the level design, randomly generated. Item placement and what items you get in the game, randomly generated. You get to choose the order in which you tackle each stage and the bosses, just like a Mega Man game. You guys will see here shortly. There's also a bunch of different other little odds and end details in this game that make it, in my opinion, a little bit better than a Mega Man game. Let's get started here. I just recently quit a game, and so we're going to start a new game. Now, here is our central hub. If you look up at the top left, I have a green meter and a blue meter. The green meter is my health meter. The blue meter is my energy meter for my sub-weapons I get. Now, you're probably wondering what the heck is going on here. Well, here we have an archive. You can view leaderboards online, you can do tutorials. Here you have challenges that you can accomplish, online challenges, offline challenges, things like that. Here you can choose your character. You do not have to play as Nina. She is a female, by the way. Female protagonist. You can also play as Ace. He's like the Zero of the game, so he plays a lot like Zero. And then we have two new characters added. We have Hawk, who uses a whip, right? And then we have Draco, who uses a hammer, and he's a little bit slower, but he's stronger. So you have three close-range characters. One uses a sword, one uses a whip, and one uses a hammer. And then, of course, you have Nina, who uses like a Mega Buster, X-Buster type weapon, as you can see. Now down here you have items that you can use on your next run, and those numbers indicate how many screws or bolts that you need. Not bolts, I'm sorry, soul chips. So you have two items that you need to collect in the game. Soul chips, which you'll see, if you see that number 52 down on the lower left side there, those are soul chips that you collect throughout the game. Below that, where it says 00, those are the nuts that you collect throughout the game that you use while you're playing a level to buy stuff, like certain items and stuff. The soul chips will allow you to buy items here for the beginning of the game. You can buy tokens to use at slot machines that are in this game, which randomly generate items, health, or energy for you. Let me dash over here. This little sleeping guy right here, right? He's your helper. He's like this little robot dog that will come and drop a depot box of all kinds of items and health and nuts and stuff like that for you to use. Now over here, you can choose an item for one soul chip, and when you do that, you won't see it in the level. So you can kind of adjust what items you see throughout the level. So if I go over here and hit this, I'm going to switch out the items, right? And I don't want this. I've already used one soul chip. It takes one soul chip to do it. I don't want this glove because it sucks. So I'm going to get rid of it, and I won't see it on my next playthrough. I don't want these helmets. because I'm not a fan of them. I have like my own particular armor set up. You can mix and match armor too, which is a really cool thing. I'm gonna get rid of these 2 helmets. That way I can ensure that I get the type of armor that I want. I want those items. I don't want this sword. Attack damage up, power damage down. And what that means is like my normal attack, like pew-pews, my pew-pews, right? That'll go up. But my power damage, which is like my energy, like for my sub-weapons, that will go down. I don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna get rid of this. I don't want those boots. I don't want that armor. And I don't want this guy. This thing pretty much makes you a tank. And it makes you slow. So like your attack power and your sub-weapon power will go up, but it's not worth it. So we're just gonna keep going through this until I get rid of everything I want, and then we're gonna start the game. Don't want this thing, it's useless. We don't need the magnifier. You definitely don't want this thing. There are in-game shops in most of the levels. And what happens is if you pick this item and actually use it, it'll turn all those stores into what they call very safe labs, which sells just really crappy items. They don't help you, they hurt you. Why this is in the game, I don't know. Maybe to give yourself a challenge? Maybe? I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. Let's see. Don't want that gun. I'm pretty much wanting all of this stuff so far, so I don't want that gun, so yeah. I want those boots. Right now, I think I'm ensured that I get the right boots and the right gun, and I may get the right helmet, if I'm lucky. I don't want these 2 things. Those pretty much make you a glass cannon. Don't like it. And there's an actual glass cannon in this game too. It sucks, so... perfect. So I should be pretty much assured the armor that I want when I get ready to start the game. Now we go up here to start the game. I'm going to choose Reverent. Because this game gets nuts. This thing will put out a lot of different sprites and enemies in the level. It gets insanely difficult. The jumping and timing in this game is tight. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this weapon. Now I can shoot in 4 different directions. You might see this enemy flashing right here. When enemies flash like that, that means they have soul chips. That red enemy I just shot, he dropped a nut, which is pretty much just the currency that you use in the actual game, in the level that you are playing. There's a token, we got a token I can use at the slots. That little yellow one, they're worth 5 nuts. So, we'll get a little secret area here. Okay, so I'm gonna make my way up, y'all. Okay, this thing's pretty cool. Makes me a little bit faster. So, and we're not going to play through the whole game. That would take a good hour or so. We're just going to check out a couple of levels, you know. Alright, so right here we have what we call the Glory Zone. You can go in here, it's like a bonus level. And if you accomplish whatever the task is there in parentheses, like it says, no damage, which means you cannot take any damage. And if you don't take any damage while defeating the enemies, then you get the prize at the end. There are, I think, about 4 different types. So I'm going to go ahead and charge up my weapon and go in here. Ran into it. Glory Zone failed. Usually the first Glory Zones aren't that hard, which means there was probably something good in there. I screwed that up. That's okay. Hey, bunch of bolts. Come on. Get there. Alright. And just like Mega Man, we do have a boss door. These machines right here, if you spend 2 nuts, you can get 1 thing of HP. And then my health meter goes back up. They also have one, it's a blue one, you can use it for energy. And then they have a red one, so like if you, in that one, if you spend health, it'll give you nuts. or bolts, whatever you want to call them. We got our first boss here. Fairly easy boss. Pretty much you just want to avoid his jumping, which is random. We want to avoid his dash, and of course his buzzsaws, so. Then eventually, he gets to this point, and you just kind of lay into him like that. Now, if I were to play this boss later on in the game, halfway, you know, if I took his health halfway down, then he would have split up into two of himself. And then you have two of them to take care of. Depending on which boss you fight against, you know, depending on which point in the game you're at, depends on how hard they are. Either their health goes up, they have new attacks, new patterns, things like that. So we're going to go here to Frostor and take on the Chill Penguin lookalike. Or wannabe Chill Penguin. Shatterbeak. Alright, so we have a blinking enemy there. And this is actually one of my favorite games from Steam for the PC. Really well made. I love the graphic style they went with on this. I mean, the colors pop, everything looks great. The music is amazing in this game. Very, very good stuff. Okay, so here we have our friend, and he had nothing but one big capsule of energy for me, which I did not need. Oop, there's a nut. Got some more. Now these beetles, I'm not a fan of. They have a shield, and if you hit their shield, it'll reflect your shot back. Got a little secret area here, jumping on some ice cubes. To a chest. Cool, cool, I want that. The plumber hat. So what this does is just allow me to jump higher and farther. So, got ourselves another glory zone. Disable traps. Alright, here we go. So, I have to hit my sub-weapon button, and it gives me this like little flash. And then I take out those electrodes, and we got my gold armor. That's what I want. This allows me to, it kind of grants me immunity. Like when I get hit, I don't get any kind of stun animation or anything like that. So I can just keep on trucking through. And we missed a token, but that's okay. See what we got down here. Okay, so we have ourselves our first shop. I've got 41 bolts I can use. This one's not very useful. It can be if you need it to be. I mean, really, it just grants you 1 pip of health. And it refills your health all the way. But I want this one. It gives me a +2 on my attack strength. And then I want this one, which will grant me a +2 armor at the beginning of a level. Now, I paused the game. And if you see right below my health and energy meter, I have certain stats. I have strength, I have power, speed, and jumping. Or, you know, my height that I can reach when I jump. You also have an indicator on the left there that lets you know which type of armor you have and which items or augments that you've collected down here at the bottom, as you can see. And then they'll give you a description of what they do for you. Here are some buttons that you can assign your different sub-weapons to. You can have up to 3 plus your main weapon, which is pretty cool. So, continue and just keep on moving along. So kind of the whole object of this is like get as strong as you can, get all the best armor and weapons that you can. I mean, everybody's got their own preferences on that, and you will be fine. Also though, when you're like so you're playing this and you're, you know, you keep getting all these like items that increase your speed, be careful because you will get to the point you cannot even control your character. They're that fast. I'm talking like flash fast. It's insane. Some augments don't cap off. So we have our first slot machine, and it looks like a potato. It's a potato battery, and that's going to give me a +3 on my energy there. And here we have Shatterbeak. Pretty easy boss. Wish I had my sub-weapon that I normally use. I usually only rock one sub-weapon in the game. There's a couple that are pretty good, but there's this one, it's like a chain gun type thing that is just kind of OP. Don't get hit. Oh, I got hit. Oh well. So I just blew up my big chest there that I got for beating the boss, and I got an armor spreader. What that does is, like, each capsule of armor I get, it's gonna, instead of it being 1 pip of armor, I'll get 2 pips of armor. And then if I add on to that, you know, if I get 1 pip of armor, it'll be worth 3 pips or 4 pips, and so on. So I'm gonna get that heart right there, increase my health. Let's see. All right. So the boss I wanted is not here, but we'll do one more stage. That way you guys can get an idea of what the levels look like and stuff like that. And like I said, they randomly generate too, which is really cool. So you never have to see the same level layout, you know, all the time. Same thing with enemy placement and the items you get. It always changes every time you start a new game. Oh. Ooh, and I fell. First fall of the game. Cool thing is you don't die, but you do take some damage when you do that. So there's actually an item in this game you can get that allows you to not take damage when you fall. That's an important item to get. I think it's called the Gap Minder. Oh, there's a box. Plus 2 armor. Taking out these enemies. Alright, so we have disabled traps again. And here we have flamethrowers, right? So if I hit my sub-weapon button, it's going to shoot out an ice particle and I can freeze them. Didn't want that to happen, but that's okay. And we're good. What do we get? Oh yeah, the boots. These are called the Owlhawk's Feather, and what they do is they allow you to fly for a short distance. Just like that. So having to rely on wall climbing and wall jumping and all that becomes much easier with this. Unlike what I just did there. Ourselves a little secret area up here. Oops. You have to be careful because some platforms will hurt you, like if you, like the ones that fall like that, if you get caught up under it, it will hurt you. Right here we have the Hyper Sash, which just increased my speed by 5, so you may notice I'll be flying through here in a second, so. I have no tokens, but I do have some bolts. Let's see what we got in here. 36. Ah, I am short by 3. Go ahead and raise the power. And let's get 3 pips of health. And let's get out of here and take on this boss. This is a pretty unique boss right here. Death Lotus, Prince of Petals. Pretty unique looking boss, but pretty easy to take out, so. What you want to do is wait for him to pop out and just unload on him like that. Then he can't reach you. Take out his little flower minions. Where you at? There you are. Come on. Whoop. All right. Gotcha. Oop, I'm about to forget my item. Now you also have robotic companions that will help you out as well. So this little green guy I got following me around, he'll shoot a 3-shot pattern at enemies. You have another one that just kind of runs into enemies and destroys them. And of course, the more, like, let's say I collected, you know, another one of those green guys, he would get bigger and do 4 shots, bigger, do 5 shots. And the same thing goes with each little helper that you get. I think there's like 3 or 4 little helpers you can have follow you. Then you become unstoppable. So, too OP. So we're gonna get these soul chips. We're gonna go ahead and call this episode. Although this is the level I want to go to get my weapon. We're gonna call it. I'm gonna go ahead and save and quit. Yes, a break sounds nice. Thank you. And just to reiterate, if you are into Mega Man games, I highly suggest you check this out. It's on Steam, and it's now available for Switch, PS4, and the Xbox One. Very fun game. The controls are super tight, very responsive. Love the graphical art style in this game. I love the way, like, the animations are, the designs of the character, the enemies, I mean, in the game. The music, fantastic. I mean, it's spot on. It's very representative of what type of game this is supposed to be. And overall, I give it a 9 out of 10. Honestly, I highly suggest you play it. And be sure to keep an eye out for its sequel that's going to be coming out soon, 30XX. I recently just watched a trailer for it earlier today. And while it's still the same style of game, they went with that 16-bit look to it. So it's going to have like a 16-bit pixelated art style to it. Looks phenomenal. And it offers co-op play. So be sure to check that trailer out online. Very, very cool looking game. Like I said, 9 out of 10. Check this game out, guys. I just want to say thanks again to all my subscribers. And for all of you new to my channel, please make sure you click that subscribe button. Don't forget to click that notification bell down at the bottom. That way you guys can get notified as to when I post new material. Also, don't forget to smash that like button for me. And remember, guys, until next time, keep on gaming.
Game over, yeah!